welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the truth about living in Atlanta, Georgia. So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your brother, tell your uncle to come subscribe to the channel because we are so lit. And y'all, let's get into this video. So y'all, please y'all don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, this story time, or not even like a story time, but like an advice video / story time video. I'm not sure how that would work. But it's the truth about living in Atlanta, Georgia, because a lot of people I see are coming to Atlanta, or people have like this like idea of Atlanta in their head, which is not true. So we're gonna, debunk the rumors, and we're gonna get into what it is really like living in Atlanta, Georgia. Like every state, I don't stay directly in Atlanta. I live outside of Atlanta, if that makes sense. But if somebody asks me for some reason, I'll be like, yeah, I live in Atlanta. But I live in a city outside of Atlanta, if that makes sense. But I go to Atlanta so many times. Oh my God, I have to plug my computer in. I go to Atlanta so many times. I was just in Atlanta 2 days ago. So I feel like at this point, like, I'm not from Atlanta, but I live in Atlanta, but I don't, right? Does that make sense? So I moved here about 8 years ago. And so I feel like I know like the real tea on what's like really going on, right? Like, what is it really like living in Atlanta? And a lot of people come from New York, or they're coming from LA, or they're coming from Texas or Mississippi. Like, everybody wants to live in Atlanta. But let's get into the truth, right? Let's get into the tea. So I moved to Atlanta now 11 years ago. It was a long time ago. And so when I moved here then versus now, it's still the same. Like, for example, the truth about living in Atlanta, first of all, because we're going to go from each category, right? So we're going to go from jobs to friends to food to the entertainment industry we're just going to go through all of that. And to the truth about living in Georgia, So, I like that. So let's first get into jobs, because that's the most important if you want to move. There's this thing where it's like a lot of people in Atlanta don't have jobs, and that's kind of true, but like that's true for like my generation a little bit, and then younger, because I'm 27, so I'm still there. So the truth about, especially like if you're like in your senior, if you're in your 40s, and if you're in your 30s, or if you're in your 20s and you actually want to work in Atlanta and not just scamming or doing any of those other things, the truth about it is that, so you need to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. For example, let's say you want to work if you want to work at Publix, or not even Publix, let's say you want to do catering, you want to work at the mall, you want to do corporate, any job that you have, you want to work at Wells Fargo, you want to work in a bank, it's always better to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Because, like, I'm sure, like, in any other state, like, if you want to work at this job and your friend knows, like, or your sister or your brother or your mom or your dad, they know the manager, it's so quick for the manager to be like, oh, so-and-so, you'll get hired on the spot. That's how Atlanta is. You need to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. If you don't know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, then it's really easy to, there's a lot of networking events in Atlanta that go on every single weekend. You can go to brunch. There's a lot of, there's a lot of outings you could go to. But I feel like if you don't know anybody in Atlanta, you'll still get a job. But it's a lot like harder if you don't know somebody, So it's always good to have a resume. It's always good to pitch yourself. And, it's always good to go. Of course, social media is big if you don't know nobody. You can connect through LinkedIn. You can connect through Instagram, even TikTok, Facebook, stuff like that. So job-wise, you want to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. If you don't, just do your own research. So number 2 is food-wise. Food-wise, There's a lot of Waffle House in Atlanta. There's a lot of Chick-fil-A. There's a lot there's a lot of chicken places. The food is good though, don't get me wrong, but like there's a lot of like Chick-fil-A, there's a lot of barbecue places, there's a lot of, Church's Chicken. The food is good. People say that like Chicago has better food or New York has better food, but I feel like Georgia has like the most top tier food. I'm simple. I like Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, all of that. But if you're into like Chick-fil-A is a big one, and then Waffle House. Waffle House is like IHOP, but except with the waffles, if that makes sense. Or Waffle House is like a breakfast place, but like people go to Waffle House after the club or after prom or after a basketball game, football game if you're in high school. But Atlanta has a lot of Waffle House. They'll probably have more they have more I think they have more Chick-fil-A's than Waffle Houses now, but Chick-fil-A is also big too. We all know what Chick-fil-A is. 3 is Friends, right? So we went from jobs to food. Let's talk about Friends. Friend-wise in Atlanta, in my personal opinion, I feel like, y'all know, please subscribe. I'm just doing this based off of my experience, right? I've been in Atlanta for now 11 years. I moved from Utah. I need to do a story time about, I'll probably do a story time about living in Utah. I think I already have, but I took it down. I don't know, but I'll do a story time about living in Utah tomorrow. But friend-wise in Atlanta, you really, 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 really want to watch who you hang out with. I feel like that's just like, that's in general. You want to, you want to watch who you hang out with. But I feel like in Atlanta, watch your friends, okay? Because there's a lot of scamming stuff. There's a lot of crazy people around. It's lit, but, you want to watch your friends. Personally, I'm very, 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 very friendly. I'm very, easy to talk to. If you see me out in public, I make friends quick. It's really scary how fast I make friends in a good way. But you always want to, watch out who you hang around. You want to watch your surroundings, because there is a lot of scamming here. There's a lot of, it's lit, but, you just want to be careful who you hang. People are lit. Like, the people are lit. People are outside. I just went to an event Saturday. Everybody was outside. It's super, super turnt. You just want to watch who you hang out with, right? But I feel like that's in any state that you're in. That's in any city. You always want to watch out who you hang out with, especially, the world that we're in. You just want to, we went over food. We went over jobs. And then so social-wise, there's a lot of, what is it called? There's a lot of events going on. If you go on Eventbrite, there's a lot. You just have to buy the tickets. There's a lot of events, birthday bash, concerts. If you want to, what is it called? If you want to get into like more events that they have in the city, you can of course go on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. There's always something going on, literally every single weekend, or not even, I would say every single weekend there's an event going on. There's pop-up shops going on, So event-wise, it's lit. And then mall-wise, there's the Lenox Mall. I'm sure y'all have heard of if you don't live in Atlanta. There's Lenox Mall, Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf isn't like that popping anymore, but there was Sugarloaf. It's still up there in Gwinnett. And then there is North Point Mall. So, social-wise, it's super duper lit. Everybody's outside all the time. It's just like, I don't know how Texas is, how y'all, hey y'all in Texas. I heard it is so lit in Texas. But, I feel like going out-wise, Atlanta and Texas, it's like, it gives the same thing, So, there's always something to do. But you just, like I said, go on Eventbrite, Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure y'all will find events. And then people are always touring in Atlanta. So there's always something to do if, you get really bored, right? So we went through friends. We went through food. We went through jobs. We went through entertainment. So one last tip for the people that are planning on moving to Atlanta, or the people that are planning, or that are, already live here. The number one tip I would say is to have a job. Before you come to Atlanta, baby, have some type of savings account, have a bank account. A lot of people here don't have bank accounts because a lot of people scam. No. Get a bank account, and then have some type of like savings. Or if you're planning on moving here like in a couple months, save now. So let's say it's June 23rd right now. So let's say July 23rd. By July 23rd, you'll have enough, like a decent place to live if you save up. So, those were just my tips on living in Atlanta, because I've been here for 11 years. So I would say, I'm a little bit of a Georgia peach. And I just wanted to drop some gems for y'all. So please, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your brother, tell your uncle to come subscribe to the channel, because we are so lit. And I will see y'all tomorrow in my next video. Bye, y'all. Love you.